microtransactions and
DRM.
Downloadable content.
What's up, gamers? Welcome to Gamer Rant, and today we're doing a segment called Game Talk. Ironically, I've had this in my playlist forever and ever, and I've yet to make a video for the playlist. So the idea behind the playlist is we pick a subject and we're gonna basically talk about it. This could be anywhere from, why are FPS games repetitive? All right, the same thing. Why are RPGs repetitive? Anything that you could inherently think of. And, the idea is to... I think all my videos are positive because, the idea is to give that positive message. It talks about negative aspects, but the idea is to have a positive message, so that's how I inherently think. So the idea is to basically create a video that is, I guess you could say, positive. So... we're going to be talking about Mortal Kombat and, how this is going to be like how I envision what a modern Mortal Kombat game would be. And we're going to compare it to older Mortal Kombat games and obviously the newer Mortal Kombat games. I'll try to keep any ranting to a minimum because we've done plenty of ranting on Mortal Kombat 11. So one of the biggest concerns that I see, other than microtransactions, when it comes to Mortal Kombat 11, is the what some would call the poor roster of characters. And you got people that are asking questions like, "Where's Rain? Where's Smoke? Where's Eramac?" So on and such forth. Usually, spoiler alert for some characters, they're found dead in the crypt, and there's an explanation to how and/or why they're dead. But when I look at that excuse, and yes, you're probably wondering, how is it an excuse? That's how the developers made it. Well, it's still an excuse because even though they're dead, there's nothing to say that they can't be in the game. There's just something saying they can't be in the story mode. So you have to ask yourself inherently, so why can't the characters that aren't in the game that people would like to see in the game can't be in the game? They're just only playable in other modes. Because this is the one thing I've always thought of, especially with the past, including 11, the past 3 Mortal Kombat games. And the issue with that is that you have this lackluster roster in numbers in compared to some of the older games, specific to like the PlayStation 2 era, and it doesn't inherently make sense because this is a fighting game, all right? There are other fighting games that have a bigger roster than Mortal Kombat. In fact, there's some fighting games that have a bigger roster than like the last 2 Mortal Kombat games put together. And when you think about that in context, that's inherently pretty sad. So, this is how like I would envision like a good Mortal Kombat game. Now, I'm all about like all the characters, so my idea would be more towards like a Mortal Kombat Trilogy 2 type game. I'm not saying that they have to use every character every time, but I would say something that would be beneficial would be at least 40 characters. At least 40 characters that we know of. To take that into notification. Not total in the game, simply that we know about. All right? And then we have our, our secret and our unlockable characters. Although in this modern age of gaming, that's usually behind a paywall. But let's not tangent off into that. All right? This is Game Talk. It's supposed to be slightly more positive. So, when I look at like my personal ideal Mortal Kombat game, I would say like a Mortal Kombat Trilogy 2, which would contain all the current characters in Mortal Kombat. Not only that, I think one of the reasons why they don't do it, or maybe it's just their lack of imagination, is that they try to usually give the characters like 2 fatalities, sometimes more. And maybe they think with so many characters, their fatalities would become very repetitive. But I don't know. I just look at it as it's like a poor imagination. I mean, I myself, I'm a writer. I could think of plenty of ways to kill people. All right. I can even think of ways that even they haven't displayed in Mortal Kombat. So you see, I think it's more of a lack of imagination than because a lot of their things are like very repetitive. Like the popular thing in MK11 is to pop their eyes out in that whole slow mo thing. They pop eyes out a lot in a lot of the fatalities, and to me that's very repetitive. All right, even though it's slightly doing it in a different way, most of it's being done in the same way. So it's very repetitive, and it makes their fatalities feel the same. So for me, I think I would go with like 3 fatalities per character, which might sound counterintuitive to what I just said, but I would literally have it so that we took the time to make sure that not only did they not feel repetitive, but at least because there are probably going to be some similarities with so many characters, but at least like no 3 characters have similar fatalities. All right. And the third fatality actually comes from what is known as an animality. So I decided to take the animality and just turn it into a fatality, but they turn into their animal form, and they pretty much maul the person in some facet that thereof, resulting in a fatality, not an aminality. Because in my ideal Mortal Kombat, I'm going to take the aminality, and I'm actually going to make it a part of the actual combat. So the player can input a specific button code while they're playing, and then the character actually transforms into their humanoid version of their aminality. So Nightwolf would basically be a werewolf. Not only would it completely change his fighting style, but even his special moves would be completely different. So now I've taken the roster that's already there, all right, and now I've doubled it because now every character has their own unique humanoid aminality form. Which, yes, I know that would appeal to some people and it wouldn't appeal to some people. And when you look into the context of some of these characters' aminality forms, you're probably like, that'd be like a really gay ass character. So again, I think that just goes into maybe we'd have to rethink some of the aminality forms. Now, when it comes to modes, all right, so I like the towers is always good. I mean, that's a classic staple, so obviously that's there. We got the old school 2-player split screen. Yeah, that's right. My game would totally have that. Then you got the online versions to that, and the online fighting and so on and such forth, and the story mode as well. The crypt, I think the crypt, the way I would do the crypt, because one thing about the crypt is the current crypt is people like that it's open, they're traveling, and they can find bits and pieces of information. So I think what I would inherently do is take the crypt and actually just turn it into Outworld itself. And there's going to be tombs, and the tombs have so many crypts in them, and there's going to the whole crypt, the entirety of it, from inside the tombs to just wandering around in Outworld, is going to have its own unique story for a character that you yourself can create. All right. And you'll even be able to actually do, actual fighting with that character itself. And you'll also be able to use that character in online fighting modes as well. So, again, is that something that would appeal to everybody? No, even I know that. But this is, like what for me, my personal ideal Mortal Kombat game. And from what I like about other games and implementing it in this. And not only that, key factor in my version is there's no such thing as downloadable content. There's no microtransactions whatsoever. For simplicity, we'll stick the easy fatalities in the options menu. You don't have to pay for it. You can turn it on and off yourself. We're going to go old school, ladies and gentlemen, too. So we'll even, hold button press code to open up a cheat menu in the old thing. Obviously, it won't work online. The only way it would work online is if like another player had cheats activated. So then 2 people cheating, which would be kind of inherently funny if they both had infinite health. They're just sitting around pummeling each other. But logically, though, cheats obviously not functioning online. The only way I would say some cheats. So you want a giant head or something like that, then yeah, okay, yeah, you can use that online because it's not really going to give you an advantage online in the game. And just the classic old stuff. Go to the character selection. Do some random ass fucking button shit, and bam, you unlock a character, or there's a secret character or something to that effect. Or like right before like the verse screen, you press buttons and you'll transform your character into another character. That kind of thing. So that's the kind of thing that I would do. I would go back to like Mortal Kombat roots to where we don't have any of this DLC. Now, the one thing that I would do, because this is modern times, all right, let's do an expansion pack. And let's say I'll go like 6-8 months after the game has been released, we start working on this expansion pack for this Mortal Kombat game. All right. And basically what it's going to be is it's going to contain like five brand new characters, and it's going to have its own unique story within of itself. So there's that. All right. I think that's pretty much all we can really do for this inherent video, because it's just my personal opinion on what I think would be the most ideal Mortal Kombat game. I'd like to hear what your most ideal Mortal Kombat game would be. You can write it down in the description box. You can even do a video response as well. And remember, gamers, if you're not voicing your thoughts and concerns about the bullshit in gaming, you just might be a part of the motherfucking problem.